Let's get this going, man, because I'm excited to talk to Pat. Big XYZ fan, and I want to get this rolling, man. You know what I mean? So we're going to give Pat a call in just a sec. I hope you liked the killer block. That's right, the killer block of XYZ, who is our featured artist of the night. So, all right. So we're going to give Pat a call. Right now,
I can't see from over.
You can't see. You can't see,
but I can't see what's in front of me.
Oh, see, he's in front of the phone, so we need. Oh, there. Oh, look, we got a dial tone. That is a good sign. That is a very good sign.
It goes away if we don't dial numbers.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. All right, we're going to give Pat a call in 2 seconds. All right. So here's a little. We're going to give you a little, station identification kind of thing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
This program contains adult material. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the station's views. Now stay tuned for the Shakeman Show, right here on AQUANET Radio.
And that was our station identification. We are now calling Pat Fountaine. Pat!
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yes, it is.
Oh, Pat, thank you for your patience, dude.
No problem, man.
We're going insane over here, dude. Technical problems out the wazoo here.
We only have technical problems when somebody we want to talk to is on the line. It never happens any other time. So thanks for hanging in there with us, Pat. Appreciate it.
That's how it goes.
All right, we got Pat Fountaine, bassist of XYZ, the original bassist of XYZ. You were there from the beginning, right, Pat?
I was there on day one.
Yes, you were. You guys formed back in mid-'80s, right? Like 85, 86?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
You guys formed back in like 85, 86, wasn't it? Around that time?
We actually formed, really the first rehearsal was in Europe in my grandmother's basement.
Nice.
And that was probably in 82, 83. And then we went through a few, new faces, guitar players mostly. And then I decided to move the whole troupe to New York and then Los Angeles in 84. And we actually did our first show in Los Angeles in 85.
Nice.
1985, which was the peak, if you will, of the metal years here on the Sunset Strip. It was nuts.
Yeah, you guys got your big start at the Whiskey.
Yeah, well, actually, the first show I think was at a place called Madame Wong's. It doesn't exist anymore. It was on Sunset Boulevard by the beach, but we quickly moved to the Whiskey. Probably 86 was our first Whiskey gig, and it was so well received, if you will, that we kind of became the once a month and then once every 2 weeks headliner, if you will.
Oh, awesome, man.
So it was great. I mean, back to back to back to back. We did, I don't know, 20 Whiskey shows or something like that. But picture a different era where, if you will, the Strip, the Sunset Strip, between the Rainbow, the Roxy, the Gazaris, and the Whiskey, it was just packed with people to the point where every Friday night the police would actually shut down traffic. It was really a different scene.
That's rock and roll.
Very much cool. And you could see Guns N' Roses at the Roxy, and then you could see Poison at Viper Room, and it was just an enormous amount of energy on the Strip, and obviously it's kind of hard to understand because nowadays it's a very different scene. But
yeah.
Yes, we were a part of that thing, man. We were a part of that thing.
Yes, you were, and you guys were awesome, man. I remember picking up your first album.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I picked up your first album, and just right from the first tune, man. I just love the whole album. He's got great riffs. You got an excellent vocalist, and and what's awesome. I'm a huge Dokken fan, and Don Dokken produced you guys' first album, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dokken was our producer on that first record. We spent quite a bit of time with him in pre-production, at rehearsal, hanging out, and then we at first it was not going to be like, oh, you're going to produce the record. We're just kind of hanging out, writing songs together, and then slowly but surely our record label decided that maybe having Don Dokken as an official producer was a great idea, and we thought so.
Yeah.
And it was Don is a very talented guy. He's never short of an idea. He's never silent musically for more than a second. He's very prolific, and it was just a fucking great experience to be with this guy and in the studio. And he brought in all kinds of great players. Yet he was friends with people that we didn't really know, like players on that level. Like the guitar player from Europe, John Norm.
Oh yeah.
Or Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple. He was friends with all those guys in the studio. As we were recording, we had people come in for coffee or beer or cocaine at the time, and I tell you, it was such an inspiration to chit-chat with Glenn Hughes or those guys on that level, because it was like, man, this is just crazy. Those are the guys that I admired when I was a teenager.
Yeah, right. I know. Glenn Hughes is an amazing musician, man. That guy's incredible.
Yeah, Glenn is a unbelievable singer, greatly talented singer, great bass player, of course. That goes without saying. But what a great singer! And we'd sit with acoustic guitars. We kind of rewrote a few parts with him, and he was a great help, dude. Great help.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's always good to have that kind of help, man. 'Cause we broadcast right outside Philadelphia here, so we had some really cool bands come out of here, like Brittany Fox and Cinderella, and and what helps get Cinderella, their big push was Bon Jovi. So
for sure. In fact, did they start in Philly? Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
in Philly.
Yeah, they were right here they're right here in Philly in the club scene. Now I remember seeing them guys in the early days in the club scene before they got the record deal and all that.
For sure, I was in fact disappointed that Tom had a little bit of a voice situation on the cruise. Because we saw him last year on the cruise, and I was always a big Cinderella fan, and I thought they were great.
Yeah, me too.
So when we got back on the ship, and I was told he was not going to be there because his voice or something, or the flu, or a cold, or whatever, I was kind of disappointed because I think he's one of the best.
Oh yeah, he rocks it out, man. Definitely, he just did some solo shows too.
And his voice is so peculiar, and he screams it like with vengeance and power. This guy's insanely good.
Yeah, he is. And that's great that you just brought up the cruise, Pat. I was just going to ask you about that. How did the cruise go back in March?
It was great. The first one last year in February was a lot of fun, and we never really did anything like that, so we're kind of a bit nervous to be stuck on the ship for 4 days or 5 days. We're not sure if it was going to be pleasant. My drummer gets seasick all the time, so we were kind of nervous. But we had such a great time the first time that we asked the promoter to come back a second time, and obviously we are asking him to come back a third time now next year out of Miami. It was a blast. What's great about it is you're kind of stuck. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck on this ship. You don't have to drive, so you can drink all you want. You're driving anywhere.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Just don't fall off.
It's great to just, on the deck, if you will, they set up all kinds of chairs and tables. So you sit down for lunch or for dinner, and you're sitting next to the guys from Y&T or Cinderella, or you're having coffee with Graham Bonnet.
Nice.
15 minutes later, you're sitting down with the guys from Faster Pussycat or Lynch Mob. It's just a crazy scene, and you see all those musicians together. I don't think there's anywhere else you could have that kind of an experience.
Yeah, right. Because like I said, when you're at places, you have venues and stuff like that, people scatter. They go all over the place. You might not even run into one of the other bands that you're playing on the bill with, but they're on the ship. There's nowhere to go. Like you said, everybody's all right there.
Right. Yeah.
So how do they do the? I always wanted to go on one of these things. How's the security and all in there? Because I know there's tons of
I'll tell you, the
fans and stuff.
I was amazing. Now that I think about it, I did see a few guys walking around with security T-shirts, but now I never noticed their presence while on the ship. And I tell you, it was a non-violent, no incident, no fights, no anything of that sort. It was a very peaceful, friendly, mellow experience. And in fact, I was shocked that really nobody either fainted or got sick or got abused or pushed around. It was really chilled, and I think that's the beauty of it. I think the weather has a lot to do with it. The weather is phenomenal. It's 85 degrees every day.
Yeah, that helps.
Right.
Everybody's kind of mellow because the beer is flowing, nonstop. And it's kind of a mellow vibe, and really there was zero violence, which is kind of almost surprising because typically at a festival or at a rock concert of that sort, there's always a moron with a couple of drinks too many that wants to start some shit. That's kind of typical.
It's usually
but on
me.
this particular venue on this ship, I didn't see anything like that, man. It was great.
Awesome.
Right. Did they make you go through the lifeboat drill?
Yeah, we did that. So that makes for really silly pictures. I kind of, you can avoid it if you hide in your cabin. Nobody's going to come and get you. But I kind of wanted to do it just for the sake of things. So I went out with the guys from Y&T. In fact, that we all stepped out of the cabin with our orange things around our necks. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, when it's 85 degrees, that feels good, don't it?
Yeah. It was kind of cool. No, it's kind of nice to know if the ship's going to go down, how the hell are you going to get out of there? So it's kind of good to know what route to take.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That is my goal to go on one of these. I'm hoping that they keep on going on every year because one of these years I'm getting to one of these. I want to definitely get on these ships.
You should try for next year. Now, next year I hear is a bit different. It's out of Miami on a bigger ship. Now, this year was sold out. And there was a long waiting list of people wanting to get on it, so they're getting a bigger ship, I think, with a bigger deck, if you will.
Bigger works for me.
The deck fills up pretty quickly, I'm looking forward to it because it's such a blast to... and there's a lot of people you recognize from the first year, and then it becomes like a family, and the Facebook thing really made it like everybody kind of knows everybody. It's very cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, I hope to be on that next year. I hope, man. I'm going to save all my freaking money.
The girls walk around in bathing suits.
Oh, that's
all
terrible.
Trashed. It's like a big fucking party.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So, what now?
There was a lot of condoms on that ship.
Yeah, I saw your little video you posted. I saw that little video you posted up on YouTube too. That was hilarious, man.
Yeah. You know what they should do? They should put a sign in your cabin saying, "Do not throw your condoms overboard. It's bad for the fish."
It's bad for the fish, right? And these are not water balloons. They put that on there too.
Oh man.
So, what I wanted to ask you, what are you guys up to? I mean, you did the cruise in March. You guys got any plans
we did the cruise in March. In fact, today we just kind of sit here in my apartment. I live in Hollywood. My living room is a bit of a studio nowadays. So we were sitting around today just kind of plucking away at some acoustic stuff, just trying to write things or just messing around today, the four of us. It was pretty cool. We don't really have a great plan of action for the next couple of months. We are in the process of thinking about making a record.
Cool.
Nothing really specific yet. We'll probably do a few festivals this year, or a couple of shows here, a couple of shows there. I don't know if we really want to go out there on the road and play every couple of days.
Oh, okay.
I think that way it's cool to do that, but you can also take away from the special moment when you only play once, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year. We don't want to be on the road.
Oh, okay. So you just want to play like festivals and stuff. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Say that again?
Yeah, so you guys just want to play like festivals and stuff like that. You don't want to play like on a full blown tour.
We did M3 last year. We're not going to do M3 this year, but we did it last year.
Yeah, I saw you guys last year. Excellent set.
We do the Rocklahoma, Rockin' in America, the Kansas thing. We do a couple of shows here, a couple of shows. We don't play extensively. I mean, we did a couple of weeks in Europe this year and the year before, just because we're trying to focus on Europe a little bit more, because when we grew up here in the 80s or 86, 87, we never really played Europe till recently, really. So knowing that we played America quite a bit, we're now trying to play Europe a little bit more so than America. We're just trying to split our time, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of the American bands are doing that too these days. They're going over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Sweden, everything in Scandinavia is completely 80s.
Yeah.
To the point where it's almost a trip to walk down the streets because people are dressed like we were dressed in '85. It's very strange. So
I know
it's a great market right now. Scandinavia and Germany, France, all that. We did all those countries last year, and it was a blast, dude. Blast.
And what's awesome too is there's a lot of cool bands coming out of Sweden and Finland that got that old school '80s sound again, and they got that look, they got the long hair. It's awesome.
They look the part, they sound the part. They're doing the Motley Crue thing.
Yeah.
You do not believe. It's pretty strange.
Yeah, it is, but it's awesome. It's strange but awesome. I love it.
It's kind of cool.
I love it, dude. I still got the long hair. I'm stuck in the '80s. I'm never getting out, dude.
I tell you, I still wear the same cowboy boots I did in the '80s. I still got the same pair. It was a cheap pair that I bought for $50, and they've lasted me 25 years.
Oh,
friend.
Definitely got your money's worth there.
Definitely. That is awesome. But so
boots.
So you guys are just going to do some some festivals, and plus Terry's also sharing the time with you guys and Great White, right?
Yeah. So Terry, at first, when Jack Russell was in the hospital, Great White asked Terry to do a couple of shows, and then Jack was in the hospital for longer than we expected. And long story short, he's out of the hospital, apparently doing a lot better. But Terry's still kind of doing shows for Great White. Obviously, we got to earn money, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing it, and he's doing it for, I guess, the rest of the year, or at least the next couple of months. After that, we don't know, Is Jack coming back? Are they going to reunite? We have no clue. Nobody knows for sure, but for the next couple of months, that's kind of what we're doing, and then we're okay. We all have things we do a little bit on the side. My drummer, Joe, has a band in Denver, and he's quite busy with that. I fill in for other bass playing gigs when I find one. We as musicians, we all try to get a few jobs here, a few jobs there, so we don't have to what we're trying to do is not go to a factory from 9 to 5.
Exactly, dude. I was just going to say that to you. Anything but have to work in a warehouse every day.
I'm not. You know what? I've never been in a cubicle in my life. I've never been in a factory in my life, and I'm not about to start.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. I hear you on that, brother. Go all the way, man. Do whatever you got to do. Stay out of that warehouse.
We do whatever we got to do. Sometimes we take gigs that don't pay much, but it's better than a normal job.
You're damn right it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just a side job to me. My bands are my side job. I have to work a 9 to 5 job, which I hate. But I didn't get that break back in the early days. But hey, I'm not complaining. I still love my fans. I still love doing what I do.
Sure, for sure, you're doing what you love to do. Which is really the treasure of life.
It is. Music is powerful, and it's a great thing to have in your life, especially when you're good at doing it.
I'm reminding myself of that, and in fact, I remind Terry of that. Because Terry sometimes takes things for granted. I always say, dude, I know you're sick and tired of playing face down in the gutter, but we're gonna do it because we're lucky motherfuckers.
That's right.
And you gotta be reminded of that once in a while, that we're lucky people, man. And what we're doing is a dream come true. And you got to savor every drop of it.
And that's what's awesome. We had a couple interviews a couple weeks back. We had the guy from Great White,
Michael Lardy,
and we were talking about Terry.
Yeah.
And he was saying how great, how fortunate them guys are to do what they're doing, and that's what's great about it. There were so many rock stars, especially back in that time, that took what they were doing for granted. And I'm not going to name any names, but there's some stars out there that took their life for granted, what they're doing and living the dream that we all dreamed about doing, as musicians, and it's to see that you guys are saying that you appreciate it and you love it and doing it. It just shows that what kind of guys you really are, and that's what we're talking about with Michael a couple weeks ago. And another thing we're talking about too, me and Michael will talk about Terry's voice. And I saw you guys at M3. He did double duty last year. He did the Great White set,
and in fact, he did double duty.
Yeah.
You know, his voice. I think honestly, I met Terry in '81 or '82, and I was floored. I was actually XYZ is a or was a trio at first, hence XYZ. I was the singer, but when I met Terry in a bar in Europe, the first time I heard his voice, I was like, "Fuck it, we've got to have this guy aboard." So I quit my singing and I put him in front of the mic. But you know what? I'm impressed every day. I mean, he was here 5 minutes ago singing on the couch, and every time he sings, I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, he's phenomenal."
This guy's good, and you know what? We're not 25 anymore. We're not 35 anymore, and it's very difficult for a singer to maintain that strength and that quality.
It is. Yep, it is. I'm a vocalist myself. And I'm in my 40s.
Wow.
So
there you go. There you know.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of hard work. Yep. And we were just talking about that with Michael Lardy in Great White. I was saying how phenomenal Terry's voice sounded last year, and Michael was saying that Terry keeps himself in great shape, and he cares a lot about his body, which has a big part of why your voice is still good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
part of it is you got to stay fit. You got to stay fit and healthy.
Yes, definitely. Because
we all party once in a while, but Terry doesn't smoke.
Right. Big
he
bonus.
He doesn't really drink. He has a beer maybe once a week. We're not like big drinkers.
Right.
We don't smoke. We don't smoke pot. We don't do anything stupid because you know what? We're not 30 years old anymore.
Right. You're right. That's the kind of stuff that brought down a lot of rock stars back in the day, and why they're not playing today. And it's
that's
right.
That's right.
The ones that take care of themselves are still around.
Share, back in the day when we were on the road in the late '80s, we were trashed every day.
Of course.
But, of course, But there's a point at which you say, well, look, if I want to keep on doing this for the rest of my life, then I've got to kind of maintain at least the level of skills that you have. You can't just go. I can't get wasted every night. It's just not going to happen.
No, definitely not. Especially when you get older. Like back then, it was different. You're younger. Your body can handle more. You didn't care about tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You just cared about that today. Let's party today. Who cares about tomorrow? But now you get older. You got
the rock and roll spirit.
Sure. Yeah, it changes when you get older because you want to keep it going. You want to keep on rocking, and like you said, you don't want to wind back. You don't want to go working in a warehouse for the rest of your life. So.
That's right. You want to keep your job. I want to keep my musician job. I don't want to do anything else. I just don't know if there's a few things I could do. I'm sure, like everybody else. But I'm so lucky to get a break at this. I want to repay that luck, if you will, by keeping myself healthy and fit. Really. Yeah. Fit for the job.
Well, that's one of the questions I'd love to ask you guys because, like I said, you guys been playing for a long time. These guys you're born in the 80s. That's a lot of the musicians that were out back then. And then like you had that time period where, the metal went down for a while. You had the grunge and all that going on. What always was curious to me was how you guys kept the living. Because you didn't have the new albums coming out. You didn't have big tours and stuff. So obviously, you guys budget your money well because to be able to.
We did. We were. I don't want to get into figures or nothing. Of course,
oh no.
We got signed in '89, and we were really one of the last bands. I think the last of the last was really Little Caesar, but we were one of the last big deals in Hollywood before things started to change. So we made a pretty decent chunk of money, and we were smart with it. We either bought a few things to keep us going or invested it. We got lucky a number of times. We're very frugal. Nobody. Terry went out and bought a Corvette, and that's pretty much the extent of it. We didn't spend that much money on stupid mentions.
Right.
And Playboy bunnies. We didn't do Playboy bunnies. So we kept a pretty much normal life. We didn't go crazy. We had a good time for sure, but we didn't go crazy. And I think that's what kept us from going to a cubicle.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You have to be smart and invest your money because a lot, like I said, back then.
Yeah, we were very lucky. When we got the check from the label, there was actually a guy from the label that took us out to dinner right around Capitol there. We're assigned to Capitol.
Right.
So we went down the street to a restaurant, and the label guy, very nice guy, told us, you guys, I tell you exactly what happens. Here's your money. You could do what you want. You could blow it on cocaine and call girls, and then in 2 years or 3 years you'll be fucked.
Right.
Or you could be a little smarter with it. So he gave us a really good chat about what happens in the rock and roll life, and we kind of thought, okay, maybe this guy's right. We can't be complete morons about this.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of the bands, like especially like TV shows. You look at TV shows, these old school TV shows that they get played on like TV Land and all these cable channels. They're getting a royalty check from that. It's not like you guys were getting royalty checks for being played on a radio all the time, because 80s metal didn't get radio play. So it wasn't like you guys were getting royalties or anything like that. So you had to be smart with your money back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And I remember, I'll never forget, I'm sitting, this had to be around 1990, I believe it was. It was right around after you guys came out. And I remember sitting and watching a movie that your song was in, which Dolph Lundgren was in it. I Come in Peace.
Yeah, it was called I Came in Peace.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I remember hearing the song, and I'm like, wow, these guys are... I think that's actually how I went out and got your guys' album, because I heard the song, and I really dug it. I'm like, wow, who are these guys? And I waited for the credits afterwards.
You heard it from the movie.
Yeah.
Funny.
Right.
That movie...
He's the guy that saw it.
Underground as it is, or as cultish as it is, has been keeping us kind of alive, because the royalties from that are actually great. And I don't know, because it's a movie that not a lot of people know, but apparently there's a cult thing, and I keep seeing it late nights on like TNT or something, or I mean, it's out there. Somebody's playing it. That's funny.
Yeah. And like I said, we play a lot of you guys' songs on here, and we just play. We we get a lot of feedback on the ballot, which a lot of people love. What Keeps Me Loving You, which because we got a lot of female listeners that love the ballot block. We play a ballot block here.
God bless you for that.
Yes, hey, you can't go wrong with the ballots, man.
Pat, one of our top female listeners sent a message in asking.
True, absolutely. I mean, if we don't play What Keeps Me Loving You live, we're getting nothing after the show, my friend.
Right?
You're right. So
Pat, we had one of our top female listeners was dying to know what your accent is.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
A message from one of our top female listeners asking what your accent is.
Oh, my accent is French.
French.
Wow.
Jerry and
I would not have picked that out.
Jerry and I were born in France.
Ah.
So
nice.
We actually lived in France for most of our teenage years. Really, I moved when I was 17. Moved to New York City, stayed there for a few years, and then Los Angeles ever since.
Cool.
So most of my life has been spent on U.S. soil, but I still believe I'm from Europe, and perhaps someday I will go back.
Cool. So you're going to retire there?
Yeah. Put my feet in the sea, eat some fish, and watch the sunset over the olive trees.
That is awesome.
All right, Pat, we're having a great time with you, and it's awesome for you to join us tonight.
It's my pleasure, man. I think your show is really cool.
Thank you.
It's so great to see that even though we released or wrote those songs 25 years ago, that there are still people out there that are willing to give us a minute of their time and listen in or promote us. It's just brilliant. I never thought it was going to last that long. 25 years is a long time, my friend.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I love 80s metal. It's in my heart forever, and it's a music that, as you like you said, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, it's still going strong in the hearts of people that love the music. And
absolutely,
and
as you pointed out, they're brand new bands, teenagers that are playing it.
Yeah.
And playing it exactly the way we did it, with the same sound, the same tone, the same progressions.
It's awesome,
the same vibe, the same dress code, and it's pretty cool, dude.
It really is, dude. And you know what? Also, thank God for Rock Band and that other video game. What's that other video? You got Rock Band and Guitar Hero. Because they got all the old school rock on there. So these kids, they have to play it on the game so they know the songs, man. It's awesome.
That's right. That's true. That's great.
Right. Look, my kids are 13 and 10, and they know all the. They know from me listening to it, but they also they learn from Rock Band, and they rock out and act like rock.
I love
stars
seeing
themselves.
the young generation listening to our music. It's the best. It's just nothing like it.
Those
man.
of you just joining us, we are live on the phone with Pat Fountaine from the band XYZ. And if you missed any of the interview, you're going to have to go back to the archives because this guy is just showing us all a good time tonight, and we do appreciate it. I just wanted you to know that, Pat. Can you tell us something that regular people don't know? Something that happened to you, like a story from back in the day at the Whiskey or on the tour bus or on the boat or anything like that to knock us over a little bit.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story that's kind of funny. We were. It was really early in the '90s, possibly the end of the '80s. Really, we were just off the road with Ted Nugent. We just did like maybe 3-4 months with Ted Nugent. So we went home and we got another tour, but the tour didn't start till a few months then. Or so I say, you know what? To kill a couple of months, why don't we get back on a tour bus and do some of the West Coast thing, the Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Seattle thing, just the West Coast thing, what we call the 11 Western states. And so we didn't know that we had already a bit of a reputation with the ladies, so we didn't really think about anything like that. So we get on the tour bus, and now we're headlining clubs, if you will, which is a very different story than opening for a major headliner like we just did
at
with
the
Ted
arenas.
Nugent. So we actually, the first show was in Las Vegas. Everything is cool. Yeah, good times. We get back on the bus, and then we get into Utah. Our show is in Salt Lake City. So we pull into the club. We're kind of super early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. We pull the bus there. And then we all go to sleep, thinking, we're gonna sleep on the bus and wait for the club to open. And when they open, we'll do sound check like we normally do. And then about a few hours later, maybe 8, 9 a.m., we are awakened by somebody knocking on the window of the bus. So my manager opens the door, and it's a couple of cops, a couple of Utah state troopers.
Oh boy!
Uh-oh.
And I poke my head through the curtains, and the cops say, "Can we have permission to come aboard?" And you can't really tell the cops no.
No, because they'll get it either way.
Said, well,
yeah.
I mean, so those two cops come aboard. They wake everybody up, and we're like, "What's going on? Are they going to look for drugs?" We didn't do drugs, so we didn't care. We had plenty of booze on the bus, but that's not illegal. So everybody's awake. We sit at the little table in front of the bus, and the cops tell us, you're from XYZ, and we in Utah don't like any hanky-panky after the show. So if you don't mind, we're going to let you play your show here in Utah, but as soon as you're done, we're going to get you back on this bus, and we'll give you a police escort out of state.
And then do whatever you like.
We're like, really?
Wow.
Really? That's kind of crazy.
They are tight over there. They are real tight.
Yeah, and so after the show was the funniest thing. There was every time there's a bunch of young girls hanging by the bus. We couldn't even talk to them, and the cops walked us back on the bus.
Oh man!
And they forced us out of Utah.
Yeah, I think the sheriff's daughter was an XYZ fan, and they didn't want you getting near her.
Wow.
Fucking great. We still laugh about it because Utah is the only state we didn't get anything from.
Wow. They like to keep it in the family there.
Yeah.
I tell you. Yeah, we always said that. I said, well, Utah, man, that's a tough one to crack.
Utah, get out. Come and get out. Play your show and get out.
That was funny as hell.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious,
that was
man.
so funny. Police escort out of Utah. No, you can't pay for that, dude.
No, you can't.
Now the taxpayers did.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Check that out, man. That's insane.
Man.
That's awesome, though. All right, Pat. Well, guess what, man? I love having you on the show. We took some of your time up. Thank you so much for your patience.
No, it was my pleasure. You guys have a great show, a great vibe, great attitude. I love it, dude.
Yeah, and we're going to be keeping posted to your page and seeing what's going on with XYZ. And
absolutely. Keep in touch, of course.
Of course.
Everybody can visit our website, officialxyz.com. All the bet news, all the crazy things we do are on it.
Yeah.
And swing by and visit.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm on there all the time. I'm on there right now. And you can check it out by going to xyz.com, man. It's awesome, man. It's an awesome website. It's got all their photo gallery up there. It's got featured videos. Everything's up on there. And it keeps you posted on what's going on in the XYZ world. And, all right. Well, Pat, thanks for calling in. And
thank you, guys. Thank you. My pleasure.
Oh,
Thanks
man,
for
it's been
calling
great talking
in,
to you.
and,
Great talking.
We'll talk very soon.
Yeah, definitely, Pat. Stay in touch.
All right. Take care, my friends.
All right, you
Thank
too.
you.
See ya. Pat Fountaine, bass player of XYZ. What an awesome, cool dude, man.
He's a good dude. He broke every rule we have at the station.
Hey, man. Hey, you can't. Hey, he's the interview. We can't we can't bleep him out every time he goes to say something.
No way, man.
It was unexpected.
He wouldn't have been able to speak without the F-bomb there, and that was great.
Right. It wasn't intentional.
No.
You know, as our boss tells us, as long as it's not intentional and you're not saying it every other word.
He intentionally did not say it 11 times.
Not at all, but I want to thank Pat for taking the time and being patient to get on with us. He was supposed to be on the line at 8:30 and didn't wind up getting on till 9. So for him having the patience to stay on with us is just, I don't know.
Right, he's almost like the anti-rock star. He's very cool, but he doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't really party.
Right.
He likes to get it in, though. He said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely likes to get it in.
He had to get that across. He made that clear.
Abundantly clear. We understood that.
Yes, but just not in Utah.
Not in Utah.
Oh, man, that was awesome, man. It's great to talk to guys that you grew up listening to and hearing the stories about them on the road because, it's something you thought about back then, like, wow, these guys are living the life. They're living the life that you were dreaming about doing and being. It's like, like he said, man, he's living the life, and he doesn't have to work in a warehouse every day and do whatever any of that stuff. And you know what? If I was back in that time and I was in that that rock star phase, I would have invested my money and would be. Staying in music somehow and doing something.
I would have went with the coke and the hookers.
Live fast,
just
die free. Whatever, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be a nice guy because I played this song actually the very beginning of the night, but a few of you guys weren't tuned in yet, and one of our female friends who just wrote in said
she cannot.
She missed the beginning of the show, and she loves Maggie by XYZ, the song we were just talking about that was in the I Come in Peace movie in 1990 with Dolph Lundgren. I must break you.
I want to thank the person who tried to call in twice.
While we were doing our interview. Well, maybe they had a question for Pat. I don't know.
It ain't that type of party. We ask the questions around here. But, once they didn't get through the first time, They did the old hang up and call right back move.
Yeah.
And they still didn't get through.
Yeah.
But you can call back now because we'd love to talk to you now. Well, maybe after the next tune or so.
Yeah. But I played this earlier tonight, and because you're a true fan to the show, I will play it for you again. Maggie, XYZ.
Could you milk me?
Kick-ass song. Our featured artist of the night. We want to thank Pat Fountaine for calling in.
Greg.
XYZ on the Shakeman Show on AQUANET Radio.